there's a saying that goes that if you treat your business as a hobby, it's going to cost you like a hobby. But if
Mm.
you treat it as a business, it's going to pay you like a business. And so I highly, highly recommend for folks who are looking to get into the space to get educated on the front end. You're going to spend the money anyway. I
Yep.
promise you will.
Oh,
You're gonna
yeah.
lose. You're gonna lose in the business, or you might as well just invest in your education and put yourself in a position that whoever you resonate with to go bigger, better, faster on the front end. And not only does that put you in a better position faster, but you'll be able to really spread your wings even faster. So yeah, I'm really, really big on that.
What's up, everybody? It's Jamel Gibbs. Welcome to another podcast episode. This is the Business and Investing Podcast, where you learn all things business and investing related. Today, we're going to talk to a special guest about what it's like to be a rentalpreneur. As you can see right there on his hat, my man TJ Tijani is crushing it in the short-term rental space. What's going on, my man?
What's going on? I appreciate you having me, man. Thank you so much. Yeah. I gotta get you some drip, man. I gotta get you some rentalpreneur drip. I got you.
Oh, I need that, man.
Yeah,
hey, man. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, bro?
Fantastic. Well, for me, I'm TJ Tijani. I'm out here in Houston, Texas, and I've been doing real estate since 2014. Officially got into the short-term rental space specifically in 2017, and it has been a life-changing journey for me. My background's in engineering. I studied mechanical engineering and mathematics, and worked in the oil and gas industry. Thought I was going to be the king CEO right up the corporate ladder. Engineer guy. That's what I thought I was going to be. Because graduating from engineering school, being the first in my family, it was a huge accomplishment. And but about a year into it, I realized that I didn't hate it. You know what I'm saying? To be honest, I didn't necessarily hate it. It gave me some good opportunities to bring in great income, meet a lot of people. I traveled a lot. But in the traveling, even though I didn't spend a lot of time home, I had some good experiences at the same time. So I didn't necessarily hate it. I just knew it wasn't for me. And when a friend of mine, one of my frat brothers, turned me on to the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, I read it twice when I was working offshore in one of my stints working offshore. And then I decided, a light bulb went on. I said, you know what? I want to own some assets. That's what I want to do. I want to own assets. So I started off doing buy and hold investing, and then I got into wholesaling and got into doing fix and flips as well. And I got into some creative deals. I was wholesaling sub 2 deals. And then I found a short-term rental strategy shortly after I left my full-time position. And then it was a no-brainer for me. When I saw that when I launched that first property, when I had those 2 bookings the very next day, I said, wow, even if I'm half the month occupied, even if I'm 50% occupied, I am still looking to double what I would if I was to put a traditional long-term tenant in this property. And so for me, it was a no-brainer. And then I decided to sink my teeth into the strategy and started at 1, and now we're here. And 2 things were very important to me transitioning to the strategy. For one, income, right? I was making good income as an engineer, and I wanted to, at minimum, match that income so I can maintain my lifestyle. Second thing was time freedom. Again, I was gone a lot, traveling. I was working on the rigs, working offshore, taking international gigs as well. And so I wanted to reclaim my time. I wanted my time back. And so one of the things that I appreciate so much about what I do within the short-term rental space is the fact that I was able to achieve both of those things in under a year, create that time freedom, build a systems, build a team to where I'm able to work on my business as an entrepreneur. And we were able to blow by that income goal in a short period of time as well. So that's why, for me, this strategy was a no-brainer. And I think the most fulfilling thing now that I do is show other people how to get to the short-term rental bag.
That's where it's at, man. That's where it's at. You mentioned a couple of interesting points, man. I was sitting here taking down some notes. So basically, you started off doing the traditional real estate investing, right? You would agree with me that short-term rentals are kind of outside of the scope of what people think traditional real estate investing is. So were you still working your job while you were doing the traditional real estate investing?
Yes, when I was doing the traditional real estate investing, yes, I 100% was still working a full-time job. And you're right. The short-term rental space is kind of more so unconventional in terms of compared to traditional real estate investing. If you were to tell me that, hey, TJ, you see that house over there? I'm netting like 2 grand a month, 3 grand a month from that house, and I don't even own it. I'll look at you like you're crazy. That is not traditional real estate investing standard. That is not what goes on. I will say, how, Sway? How is that even possible? So, one of the ways that one of the reasons why I love this strategy is that you don't have to own the asset. You don't have to own it. You can cash flow from it, and you can provide amazing value to a landlord by still getting their rent paid on time, taking care of the property, but you're cash flowing as well, because you've created a turnkey product with that property, and now you're able to rent it out on a nightly basis over a monthly basis and charge more for it and cash flow from that difference with what you're paying in rent. So for me, I am both what you consider a landlord host, meaning I own some of my short-term rentals, but I'm also doing rental arbitrage. This is you being the middleman. This is you controlling without owning. You might also hear it called rent to rent. So I do that as well, where we're renting this property and cash flowing from them as well. So my portfolio consists of both sides. So I'm burning both ends of the candle.
Got you, man. So obviously, it took you some time to leave your job. Did you discover that you didn't have to work a job once you started the short-term rental space? Like, how long did it take for you to do that?
So here's the thing. And to be quite honest with you, I didn't want to leave my job at that time. I was investing in real estate on the side while I was an engineer. My goal was to, I want to get to 10 rental properties. 10, if I can get 10 single family houses, I'll walk away from the job because I'll be able to get that income, that passive income. And I'm still going to be wholesaling. I'm still going to be doing, sub twos. I'm still going to be doing all that. So that was the goal. I just want to do real estate. I want to get my rental properties, because at the end of the day, if your passive income exceeds your expenses, then you're in really good shape.
Yeah. You're considered wealthy at that point.
You're considered wealthy at that point, right? You're in pretty good shape. So, to be honest, I was there even when I left my full-time job, because for me, when the oil and gas market took a dip, they said that, hey, we can move you to a QA position, but it would be half your salary, or you can take the severance package. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go all into this real estate thing. It's premature, not initially what I planned, but I'm just going to go all in. And I had 5 rentals instead of 10. I was halfway there, but I took the severance and I went all in, and it was not easy. It was
So let me ask you this, man. How long did it take for you to get to the 10?
So here's the thing. I found short-term rentals after I had already left my full-time position, because when I left, I was just going to keep doing what I was doing with the long-term rentals and all that. I got to 10 rather quickly. That next year, I was already at 10.
Because you had the time to be able to.
Now we have the time, right? Yep. Now we have the time. Yeah. Matter of fact, my very first short-term rental was one that I owned. And I still own it, still doing numbers to this day. So yeah, it started off that way, got to the 10 the very next year, I believe. And yeah, I'm excited. I just closed a 13-unit multifamily. So we're on and up. For me, it's up there.
Man, congrats, man. I just hopped into some big time multi-units now, man. I'm looking for 100 units or more. I just set a goal for myself. I'm 40 now. I want to have 5,000 units before I'm 50.
Fantastic. So I love it.
That's kind of where I'm going with it, man. So you mentioned it wasn't easy. What did you mean by that?
Oh man, listen, it wasn't easy in a sense that, for one, both from a technical perspective in the short-term rental game, because when I got into the game, I wasn't necessarily educated. I just like, oh, you know what? I saw a video about Airbnb. I said, you know what? I stayed in the Airbnb one time. Don't know much about it, but okay, this makes sense. This makes sense. And I just fixed up this property. And at the time, the property was a property I was planning on adding to my landlord long-term tenant portfolio. But then I decided, when I saw that video on short-term rentals, I said, you know what? Let me try it on this particular property and see what it do. And so I tried it on that property, and that's when I had that experience that I mentioned earlier. And so I got into the game uneducated, though. I didn't necessarily know how to add systems. I didn't necessarily know how to build a team. I didn't necessarily know how to communicate effectively with landlords to get the yes, and how to position myself to show them how much value I'm actually bringing them as a short-term rental investor, to work with them so we can pick up more arbitrage units. I struggled with them. And in fact, I was laughed at once by a landlord, like, what? Get out of my face with that. But it was just because I didn't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't easy. It was a huge learning curve, for sure.
I was just telling my wife this. I work out a lot, so we got a gym right on the other side of this wall here
Nice.
in the other room, right? So, I was just telling my wife while I was working out. I said, a lot of people want the fast way out of things, but you really don't get the benefit when there's a fast way. Like if you want to, I was telling her a story about how when I got my braces put on, the dentist said I'll always have a gap or I'll always have space in my teeth if I don't learn how to keep my tongue at the center of my mouth, right? Then he said, if I don't practice keeping my tongue at the center of my mouth, my tongue is going to always push up against my front teeth. So he said, I'm going to put these braces on, but if you don't fix your tongue positioning, you're always going to come back to me and spend more money. So then it's the same thing with people want implants and stuff like that. They want to suck body fat out rather than working for it and understanding, basically practicing the habit of not doing it to continue benefiting yourself. The immediate fix almost doesn't work. So you almost have to do exactly what you did. You stepped out, you practiced it, right? You figured it out. And then over time, you become great at it, right? You become the rentalpreneur. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you'll be laughed at. You might not have all the education up front, but that's the problem. Most people don't want to step outside of their comfort zone and take that first step and then take another step and another step, which leads them to becoming great. You don't become great by sitting there and looking at videos all day long and seeing other people do it. Right.
Absolutely.
So just wanted to touch on that, man. So the arbitrage space is obviously one of the hottest spaces, period, no matter what industry you're in. You have Toro, right? You can literally rent out your car. Yep. It's an arbitrage play, right?
Arbitrage peer space too.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So looking at the arbitrage space, man, can anybody just getting started, figure this out, like not even having the right systems and processes in place right off the bat?
So yeah, you can figure it out by not having the right system and processes in place. But I'm telling you something, the short-term rental game is one of those spaces that if you don't necessarily know what you're doing, is going to cost you, because essentially you're treating the business as a hobby. And there's a saying that goes that if you treat your business as a hobby, it's going to cost you like a hobby. But if you treat it as a business, it's going to pay you like a business. And so I highly, highly recommend for folks who are looking to get into the space to get educated on the front end. You're going to spend the money anyway. I promise you will. You're going to lose. You're going to lose in the business, or you might as well just invest in your education and put yourself in a position that whoever you resonate with to go bigger, better, faster on the front end. And not only does that put you in a better position faster, but you'll be able to really spread your wings even faster. So yeah, I'm really, really big on that. And to even circle back to something you said earlier that reminded me, I think a lot of times folks feel like they have to know everything to get started. Now, I want you educated, but I don't want you to turn into King YouTube and have this analysis paralysis. Like, take action at the end of the day. Matter of fact, you don't have to know everything to get started. You just got to know enough to get started. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just wanted to add that in there as well.
That's it, man. And you do have a program, which we'll talk about that towards the end of the podcast. I'm going to make sure I link it in the description box if you guys want to check it out. If you want a step-by-step system on how to make this work, definitely check out TJ's program. If you want to step into the short-term rental space, learn from somebody that's actually in the short-term rental space. That's common sense.
Absolutely. Right? That's doing it real.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So let me ask you this, bro. Small towns. Do you recommend, I know you're in Houston. There's millions of people in Houston, right? Would you recommend utilizing this arbitrage method, or even, if just a short-term rental space in general in a smaller town?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think what people should realize is that there's even a lot of opportunity and income opportunity, even in the small towns, because wherever there's a demand for short-term stays, there's a demand for you there. And what Airbnb, that's one thing that's great about Airbnb. And I like to tell people I'm not in the Airbnb business. Okay. I'm not in it because Airbnb is just a platform, right? It's just one of the many platforms that's out there. We are in the short-term rental game. You can even consider yourself a corporate housing company, right? But Airbnb is just one of, just like there's Booking, there's Expedia, there's a lot of other platforms that's out there. Just Airbnb is what's the most known. So when people look at me, oh, TJ's the Airbnb guy, I embrace it. Trust me, I appreciate it. I love it. I embrace it. But at the end of the day, it's not the business I'm in. You know what I mean? So I like to kind of let people know that. But one of the things that I love about Airbnb that it has done, it has shown the kind of opportunities that there actually is in small towns like that, right? And for folks who are kind of like, man, will this work? Even, in my area, listen, yes, 100% it can and it will. What is the reason why people will come there in the first place, right? One of the biggest questions that you have to ask yourself in this space is, who are you serving? Who exactly is that guest avatar? And trust me, the most successful hosts are ones that tailor their units specifically for their guest avatar, not somebody who just set up a unit and just, well, whoever want to come can come. There's a reason why orthopedic surgeons make more money than general surgeons, because when you get into the niches, there's even more opportunity to make money. If you're serving business travelers, you should have a workstation in your unit, right? A desk. Even if you want to take it a step further, provide maybe an option to get a printer in there. If you're serving families, it'd probably be a good idea to have a pack and play in there, so people don't have to travel with it, and highlight it, let people see it. So that gives you the edge now. That way, they're like, okay, we ain't got to pack, we ain't got to carry that. Okay, they already got it there. We good. Guess what that does? Now you're standing out a little bit. You know what I mean? Yep. So there's opportunities even in smaller markets. I like to tell people, if you're in a market, especially, and this kind of in a way excludes like the beach, because there's like the beach, you can do vacation spots, the beachy areas, the mountain areas, or it can be in a metropolitan urban area, in the city. So if you're in a city or in a small town even, and you're like, will this work? Well, is there a hotel within a few miles from you? Because understand that hotels aren't just there by happenstance. They've already put in the money into the market research to confirm the demand for short-term stays in that particular area. So understand, okay, there's a hotel within a few miles from me. Okay, there has to be a demand here. They've already put the money in to do the research. So yes, understand there's opportunity. And on top of that, there's data you can look into. There's AirDNA. You can look into that to find out, to pull comps and find out the kind of income other short-term rental properties in that particular area you're interested in are bringing in. From a monthly perspective, yearly perspective. And you can also, if you don't want to pay for that research, you can go do it the free way. Just go on the platform as a traveler, look at the map view, look at the listings in that particular area, or what kind of activity, how many listings are in that area. And sometimes not having a lot of listings can be a good thing, not necessarily a bad thing. You know what I mean? So look at the listing, see what they're charging, see how far out is booked, right? Look at are their prices fluctuating, or is it stagnant? Because these platforms love fluctuating prices, dynamic pricing, because they view you as an attentive host. So look at all that, and then look at those numbers, and that will give you an even confirm the demand and also the type of income to expect within that particular market.
Love it, man. And one thing that you mentioned that stood out to me pretty heavy was basically becoming a specialist in what you do, right? When you're a specialist, you command higher prices,
absolutely,
right? Versus trying to do everything, right? So if you're, you took on the role of becoming the rentalpreneur, are you currently focusing on regular rentals as well, or is your primary focus on the short-term rental space at the moment?
Oh, the primary focus is definitely on the short-term rental space. Now, do I have some traditional rentals still? Yes, I do. But guess what? These are traditional rentals because of the location of it, because of these are properties that I've purchased well before I got into the short-term rental space. And a lot of them, I have tenants in them that are just phenomenal. They've been in there. They still make sure their rent were paid even during COVID. So they're amazing. I have no intention of moving them. So I still have a few traditional rentals, but no, the everything now, I'm very, very strategic now at a point from where I'm purchasing properties, because I'm only purchasing properties in areas that make sense for short-term rentals. So, yeah.
So what's the plan with the 13 unit you just purchased?
So with that one, we are definitely converting that to a boutique hotel. So we're
Nice.
going to brand it. We're going to make it a whole shebang. We're going to gut it. It's a multifamily, but we're doing a full gut remodel on it, pure value add play. And we're going to convert every single one of those units to short-term rentals. And we're going to everything's going to be fully automated. No desk area. There's no front desk. It's going to be self-serve, boutique style, very nice, modern, clean, super nice. And you'll be able to, guests can check in and check out, park on their own. It's going to be fully secured. It's going to be fully gated. It's really, really going to be really nice. I'm still thinking of a name, by the way. I haven't come up with a name for it, but yeah, we're converting it to every single one of those units to short-term rentals for sure.
I stayed in a hotel in Asheville with my wife a couple months ago. We just went away for the weekend, and it was more of a boutique style hotel.
Nice.
But I noticed that the Hilton Hotel was the owner of this boutique. I can't remember the name of the hotel, but it was really, really nice, man. Had the boutique feel to it, nice restaurant downstairs and everything. So nice. I could see the larger hotel space, the hotel operators are starting to go that boutique route. So I think that's a power move on your behalf too, man.
Oh, man, that's amazing. That's definitely amazing.
Definitely, bro. There's a lot. You mentioned value add. Now, obviously, you and I, we're in a real estate space, but for those of you who don't understand what value add is, it could be any. You know what? Let me have TJ. Explain that.
Yeah. So value add plays. These, you could purchase a property. Say for example, and I'll give you concrete examples. The very first rental property that I purchased, this in 2014. Was a turnkey property. Didn't need any work. Was new. Matter of fact, the investor had the owner had replaced the roof, the flooring, new HVAC, everything was spank and span. And I did a conventional loan, came to the closing table with 20% down. And my 20% down, I bought it for $92,000. I bought 20% down with title fee. I think came out to like $24,000. I said, all right, bet $24,000, purchased the house. And within 2 weeks, I had a tenant. Literally, the day I closed on it, I put a for rent sign in front of it. And within 2 days, I had a flock of people. And I took my time to pick my very first one. And then I had a tenant in it within 2 weeks, which, by the way, turned out to be a nightmare tenant. That's a whole nother story. My very first rental property. That's a whole nother story. This real estate world is fun, ain't it? Like, it's just a lot, man. It's things that can happen. So, so that is an example of that is an example of a turnkey property, right? Didn't need to put any work into it. Had it rented out within 2 weeks. Boom, good and done. Now, take my very first Airbnb, for example. This was what we could like to consider a value add play. It bought the property for $115,000. Needed everything. It needed a lot of work. It didn't look good. It was in bad shape. It was what we like to consider an ugly house. But then we added value to it, value add play, quote unquote, by rehabbing the property and increasing the value. That's another key part of considering it a value add play. Now we've increased the value of the property, and so now because we added value, now the value's up on the property, and now we're able to rent it out to a traditional tenant or a short-term rental tenant. In my case, a short-term rental structured as a short-term rental in my case. So yeah, those are what we like to consider. But that's just from a single family perspective. The same thing applies to a multifamily perspective.
Yep. Exactly, man. And just for clarification, you guys, if you're still kind of confused on what a value add is, it's basically a property that needs some work.
It needs some work.
Or is being poorly managed. It doesn't necessarily need to have work, right? Like when I'm looking for commercial units, at the end of the day, it could be poor. It could be in great shape, but be poorly managed.
Yep.
Or we could go in and see that we could raise the rents $200. Maybe there's low rents. There's a lot anywhere you can. Maybe it's an add-on. Now I was talking to Onaje. You know Onaje, right?
Oh yeah, Onaje. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was talking to him. He was on my podcast just a little over a month ago. I want to say maybe a little longer than that, but he was telling me he saw value add in adding a laundry area.
Absolutely. That's what I was about to say too.
And then he ended up adding vending machines there and just things like that. You know what I mean? Wherever you could, you see that you can make improvement to bring in more income for the property. That's a total value add play. Those are the opportunities that you guys need to be looking for. Now, with that being said, are you purchasing properties that need work, or like when you're doing an arbitrage play, are you looking for properties that are in decent shape already? Like what's the play there?
Oh, now when you do arbitrage, I don't do any work when it comes to arbitrage. That property needs to be in mint condition. All I'm coming in to do is furnish it. And in order for me to furnish, it needs to be ready to be furnished.
That's
And
right.
so we're coming in, furnishing that property needs to be in good condition, needs to be ready to go. And so yeah, we're the value add is for the ones that we own, the
That's
ones I
right.
like, the ones I buy from my portfolio. I like to buy it, and I love doing value add plays because for one, I'm able to buy these properties at a deep discount, and for two, um, I am able to leverage other people's money to do the deal. And if you do it right on the front end, because at the end of the day, it does not matter what real estate strategy you do, what exit strategy you do, whether you fix and flip it, whether you wholesale it, whether you short-term rental it. You make your money when you buy it. It depends on how you purchase the property. So I love value add plays because I'm able to buy them right and capture equity instantly. I'm able to buy it right and use other people's money to do the deal.
That's right, man. Let me add to that too. You make your money when you buy and hold it, right? Because
Yeah,
the minute you sell the asset, it's gone. Your profit is
that's
realized,
true though.
right?
That's true. Absolutely, I agree with that. You got to hold on to that thing sometimes. You know what I
Yep,
mean?
that's right. That's
I haven't
right,
sold
man.
it. I haven't sold it. I haven't sold my a property in over 2 years. I'm holding on to everything.
Nice. Nice, man. So most people, they look at the short-term rental space and they think that it's a whole different world, right? So did it take a mindset shift for you to start doing it when you did?
Yeah, absolutely. It took a mindset shift for one because one of the things that I had to shift my mindset to is systems. And
Mm,
a lot of times, sometimes the way we're conditioned and growing up, it's like, man, it's yours, it's your baby. Do everything
yeah.
yourself. Like you the CEO, you do everything. Yeah, nah, that ain't the move. You know what I mean? So when I had to shift my mindset on that and systems and automation and doing deals and bringing in partners and being able to leverage other people's experiences to get things done. And so that required a mindset shift. And
Yeah.
when I realized that that is what it's going to take for me to actually be an entrepreneur or rentalpreneur, you know what I mean?
That's right.
So yeah, I had to make that mindset shift for sure.
Sounds good, man. And what obstacles would you say you faced throughout your years as being a rentalpreneur?
Man, well, when I first got into the game, I got in and I set up that first unit and I was just going. But where I lacked was I was uneducated, right? I
Mm,
didn't necessarily know how to build systems. I didn't know which systems I needed and when I needed them. I didn't necessarily know how to have that conversation with landlords in order to get them to say yes to me so I can partner with them. I didn't know how to not stay off my phone, consistently messaging guests and consistently messaging people that want to stay and guest and Airbnb and all that. I was not educated on that. And so I went through a lot of hurdles, went through some mistakes as a result. And then I got educated. And then
mm,
it changed. I learned that, okay, you are supposed to leverage technology. You're supposed to leverage a team, and this is what you need to say. You're not supposed to say Airbnb when you talk to landlords, because at the end of the day, even though that's one of the platforms you use, that's not the business you in. And Airbnb, as much as we love it, has a negative tone to it, because as soon as they
mhm.
hear Airbnb, they hear about all the things in the news. They hear about, articles
Yep.
that they've probably read about a party or something. And so when you mention that, you're already putting yourself in last place. Your job, and I had to learn how how much I needed to be able to speak to the pain points of a landlord, especially since I was one myself.
Mm,
So when I got educated, I said, wow, it makes sense. Duh. You know what I mean? So speaking to the pain points of a landlord, being able to show them how much value you actually are to them. And I think for me, when I was in the space, I was always getting into talking to landlords from a place of scarcity. So when
mm.
people ask me, if there anything that you would do differently, man, I would not have been scared from the jump from the front end. I would have understood and I would have gotten educated a whole lot sooner to understand the kind of value that I really bring to a landlord. We're renting your property not only are we renting your property and solving a problem for you, but we're doing it as the perfect tenant. Nobody's going to take care of this property the way we're going to take care of it. You're going to get your rent paid on time, and it's going to be fully automated. Matter of fact, we're going to handle maintenance for you up to $200. Up to $200, we handle the maintenance. Anything above that, we'll oversee the entire process. We can leverage our contracts to get it done. If you want to use yours, we can do that. I will oversee it, and we'll just invoice you for it. This is how we insure it. We're actually going to add you as an additional insurer to make sure that you're covered and we're covered. And this is how, look, the property has to show just like this for every person that checks in. So ain't nobody going to take care of it the way we're going to take care of it.
That's right.
Matter of fact, we would like to actually run it for 2 years because I know that vacancy is a pain point as well. So we actually can take it off your hand for 2 years if you allow that. So understanding the mindset, that shift that has to occur, that look, we are actually we are actually the perfect tenant for these landlords. And so now when I talk to landlords, it's like, look, it's in your best interest to work with me. If you don't want to, that sucks for you, to be quite honest with you. So that's the mentality now going into it. And ever since that mindset changed and I came understood that, came above that hurdle, then I mean, it's crazy how things switched, like literally quickly, and how I was able to pick up arbitrage units fast with that mindset shift.
Yeah, that's great, man. And you mentioned a couple of key things that, I took note of. For me, when I first started, there wasn't a lot of education out there. So I kind of had to jump out to the pack of wolves and learn my way through this business, right? These days, you have a lot of education. Yeah. Both of us, we have programs on this stuff, right? Yep. Do you think it's better to, you mentioned earlier, someone laughed at you, right? Do you think it's better to be laughed at by a landlord and never take and take that first step than to never take the first step and get to where you want to go and learn the process along the way? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question. And I think that you can, I really do think that you can get there either way. I just think that the path will be totally different and there's a better way to do it. Mm-hmm. I'm a big believer because you're going to pay for it regardless. Like, you're going to pay for it regardless. So I think that getting educated on the front end is the best way to go, because you'll be able to skyrocket your experience from the front end. You'll be able to go bigger, better, faster than you would have done on your own. And even though, yes, education is an investment, but it's an investment. But if you make that mistake without getting educated, now that's just a cost.
Most people, and you know what's so funny about that, man? Most people don't look at education as an investment. They look at it as, I'm dishing out this money. Yeah. And most people who think that way have the intentions of investing the money. They're probably going to ask for a refund back because they didn't intend on doing anything with it anyway.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
True. Very, very true.
That's the sad truth, man. But
absolutely,
it is what it is.
It really is.
Quick question for you, man. What's the turnaround for a deal, from lead to deal? Like, how many leads does it take for you to be able to get a deal?
That's a good question. So I would say, I remember when I was getting going, and I spoke to somebody who was doing this business at a high level, and I said, man, I'm talking, how many times I got to talk to these different landlords to get a yes from them. He was like, well, how many units do you want in 6 months? I was like, well, I mean, I want 12 in 6 months. And he said, okay, if I told you that every seventh landlord will tell you yes, how many people do you need to talk to? I was like, wow. He said, you see what I'm saying? He said, well, now get to work. Get to work. But it didn't take 7, right? But it didn't take that at all. But I love the fact that he told me that, because it takes consistency. It really does. But you realize that even after you get that first one, it's crazy how easy the other ones come in. But I like to tell people, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if it's a shameless plug, but I have went through so much in terms of mistakes talking to landlords, and I've done it right so many times. And it took me time to really develop the perfect script. Right now in our program, our students are seeing a 50% success rate with our scripts. That's about every other landlord you talk to will tell you yes, because of how well our scripts speak to their pain points and how well it really positions you as an expert in this business. So yeah, it really depends on how educated you are.
That's excellent, man. And again, we're going to talk about the program in just a moment. It's going to be in a link in the description box. I want you guys to definitely check that out. because we're definitely trying to create more rentalpreneurs out there.
Absolutely.
So quick question, man. If we had to provide our listeners with a 3 to 5 step process to get started in the short-term rental space, what would those 3 to 5 steps look like for you?
Good. So I would say for folks who want to get into the space, hey, TJ, I want to get into the space and I want to do rental arbitrage. Well, do you have an entity? Because at the end of the day, we're not renting these properties under our personal names. We're not we're not exposing ourselves to that kind of liability, because whether you like it or not, you're providing a service. And in doing so, people can sue you for that. So you want to make sure that you do it the right way from a corporate perspective and treat it like a business. Remember, because if you treat it like a hobby, it's going to cost you as one. And using your personal name could definitely cost you big time. So for one, get your entity going. That's just to pop it off. First thing, get your entity going for one. Secondly, I would say go on one of the sites. It could be Zillow, it could be OfferPad, wherever the case may be, and look at landlords, right? Look up landlords that are probably have properties listed for at least 30 days, and because they'll be more motivated. And call them. When you call them, you're not selling them on the phone. Your chances of working with them skyrockets by threefold if you're able to put eyes on the property yourself and position yourself face to face. So we're not selling them over the phone. We're setting the appointment over the phone. That's all we're doing. We're setting the appointment. We're confirmed that, hey, this is a property I'm interested in. This is an area I'm interested in. The pictures look great. I think this would be a good candidate to do short-term rentals out of. We call, see if it's available, set the appointment, go look at it. Then you go into the script, because what's going to happen when you get there, they're going to be asking you questions like every landlord does, and I do as well. Hey, so do you have a family? How long do you want to do the lease? Where do you work? Are you moving? The qualifying questions that any landlord would ask somebody that wants to rent their property. And that's when you want to also ask questions, right? So what's and your job when you ask the questions, by the way, is to get a good idea of what their experience has been like as a landlord, because you're about to be the perfect tenant. So you want to know, what's your experience like being as a landlord? How long, did you used to live here, or has this always been an investment property? Things like that you want to ask them, and then you get into the script, and then you just, then you have the conversation essentially. Then you start having a conversation about what you do, who you are, who you serve, how you do it, and how the property is going to be insured. Then you get into the whole nine and speak to their pain points, and that's going to put you in a good position and work with them and get the yes. Because if you do it right, they'll be intrigued by what you got to say.
That's right, man. So that's your step-by-step process. Get an entity set up. I have a video on that. I'll be sure to link it up at the top for you guys. Then go to Zillow, OfferPad, go to these different websites, look for landlords that's been on the market for at least 30 days. And set up an appointment to actually see the property, then close them
while you're there.
That's your 3-step process, guys.
3-step process.
And then after that, you start looking for your tenants. You market, your short-term tenants. You market this property. One quick tidbit that I could add to it, in a short-term rental space, what we like to do is maybe, if we have someone coming in, we'll throw a little cheap bottle of champagne on the table for them. Little things like that will go a long way in having people want to return to your properties as well. When you furnish it, you could literally furnish it on a credit card, or furnish it for less than $2,000, and then go ahead and your after your first short-term rental, your credit card is paid off, or you get your money back, whatever the case may be.
Absolutely.
Just little things like that. You don't have to go crazy and put the best furniture in there. It's not as long as it presents well, that's what you're looking to accomplish. Are you doing about the same, TJ?
Yeah. And I'll add to that, man. If I knew it was okay to even go a little further, I would have waited.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
No, yeah. So, like you said, man. I mean, you said a lot. Everything you said is right. Now, then you get into the furnishing, and this can be handled multiple ways. You can, get a business line. You can use a credit card, because at the end of the day, if you did your research up front, you'll be able to pay that thing back really quick. You're not even worried about it. So yeah, leverage that. I've leveraged other people. Now, say you get an arbitrage unit, and you tell somebody else, say, hey, I got my arbitrage unit going. We've already locked things in. How about you give me $5,000, and once I get this thing up and running, I'll make sure that a portion of the income that comes in comes to you directly until you pay back with interest. And it's only going to take, you've already done the math, it's going to take you about 3 months to get your $5,000 back, plus however much interest, 10% interest, 50, whatever that looks like. So there are multiple ways to skin the cat in terms of financing to get your units first, especially for your first one. Some people go the rental route. I would only recommend this if you have to rent your furniture, because it's going to eat into your cash flow. But rent it if you have to. There are a lot of people that they start renting their furniture, but eventually the goal is to start owning all your furniture, because renting will eventually just cost you more money. But it's a great low cost way to still get your foot in the game. But your goal should always just to be start owning your furniture too. And you furnish that thing, and now you list it. Now you communicate with guests. You start taking in guests, and at the end of the day, you said something because about like the wine and stuff. That reminds me, because at the end of the day, the experience is what matters.
That's right, man. Go to a hotel.
Because
you got the towels, you got the robes,
you got all that. Got all that.
It feels good. That's what you want to sell. You're selling feel good. Right?
Exactly. And the experience matters, because yes, this is real estate, but this is hospitality at the same time.
Hospitality.
You got to be hospitable, and there are different tiers that you can have your units in, right? There's and I got to credit Jay Massey on this, because he kind of came up with the Walmart, Target, and Nordstrom model that a lot of us short-term rental hosts uses, right? So you can be at a Walmart level, which you think about what happens at Walmart, a lot of riffraff, but you can't, but they make money. You think about Walmart, Target, and Nordstrom, they all sell t-shirts and they all make money selling t-shirts. Just depends on the quality, depends on that guest avatar. The person that buys a shirt from Walmart may not buy it at Nordstrom. The person that buys at Nordstrom probably can't afford, probably don't want the one at Walmart, right?
That's right.
The Walmart person probably can't afford that Nordstrom shirt. So it really just depends. And when it comes to furnishing your units,
it's like hotel and motel, man.
Exactly. It's like a hotel and a motel. Exactly. So you can go either way, right? And when it comes to furnishing your units, you can 100% like now understand, and I say this because times have changed. Airbnb's been around for 10 plus years. And in the beginning stages, you didn't need much. You could have just had any couch. There's no maintenance, no quality, and that works. And that still works to this day, depending on what level you're at, right? But understand that with time changes, expectations have changed as well. So for the folks who want to demand the highest ADR, your average daily rate, you need to make your units hospitable. You need to make sure that the stuff's in there is nice. Now, you can cheapen it 100%. You can, but just understand the type of demographic you're going to be serving at that level. So there's a saying that goes, and I got to credit Jay again for this one. He says, cut costs, but don't cut quality. There are certain things you can definitely be savvy with. You can be savvy with a lot and save a lot of money, but there are certain things you want to make sure that you keep quality, like your mattresses for one, right? Because you think about going to a Hilton, you expect to sleep good. You expect a good, probably not a high-end $2,000 mattress, but a nice, decent quality mattress. And trust me, you don't have to break the bank to get a quality mattress. Things like that. Things like your pots and pans. Understand that one of the things that stands out between you and a hotel is the fact that you have a full kitchen. And when people book Airbnbs, is you can pretty much expect that they're going to utilize that as well. So don't cheapen your pots and pans. That is going to make you look bad if it's too cheapened. And so make sure that you're hospitable as well, because that's just going to lead to more reviews, and more reviews lead to more bookings, and more bookings lead to more cash flow coming your way into your pocket. So
that's right. And if you guys want to really get into a step-by-step process on how to do it, I'm going to encourage you to check the link in the description box and check out my man's program. TJ is definitely the truth when it comes to doing this, man. So you definitely want to check him out. It's been a real pleasure, bro. I know there's a lot that we could cover.
Oh man, I feel like I was getting warmed up, but yeah, it's been I get it.
You know what? I'm going to encourage the audience to leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know if you want TJ to come back. We can go deeper into this, man. We can do a part 2 of this, because there's a lot of information to cover, and we only have so much time to be able to do it right now, man. So where can our listeners find out more or get in contact with you, man?
Absolutely. So definitely tap in with me on my Instagram. At TJ Tijani. It's simple, like my own brand, So TJ Tijani, that's TJ Tijani, and definitely tap in with me there. Always posting great content and posting a lot of things that I got going on. So definitely tap in with me.
Absolutely, man. And are you currently reading anything right now, man?
Oh man, listen, this one. This is a good one right here. No BS, because I think this is something that we can all use. Time management is one of those things. Time management is one of those things that are like that we can all work on, right? So this book right here,
Dan Kennedy,
the man, Dan
yeah,
Kennedy.
he's a legend in the game as far
Yeah,
as marketing, man.
yeah. I actually recommend reading this book like twice a year.
Yeah,
Like seriously,
he got a whole no BS
brand,
sequence going on, man. There's a whole
yeah,
thing going on with that, man. I
yeah,
definitely recommend Dan Kennedy's books, man.
absolutely.
Anything you learn about marketing from anybody, they probably picked it up from Dan Kennedy.
From Dan, facts.
You know
And
what
I'll
I
throw
mean?
in there another book when it comes to cash flow management, right? And which is so crucial to this strategy, because there's going to be an influx of cash flow coming your way, and being able to properly put them in the right buckets is crucial. So Profit First is actually required reading for.
Oh man, another good one, man. It was funny because I was already utilizing those strategies that he was talking about in the book, but his book confirmed it for me. And this was probably 5 years ago, man.
Yeah.
Mike McAllowicz, man.
Yep. Mike McAllowicz. Yep.
Yeah, he's actually he spoke at one of the masterminds I was a part of. Definitely two great books. I'm gonna link those in the description box for you guys as well. So TJ, man, obviously being an entrepreneur is it can be difficult, but it can also be very rewarding for anybody who gets into their own business. Do you have any last words for our listeners? Like anything that they should look out for getting started in a short-term rental space?
Oh man, I would just say, listen, just start. Even if you just start with a spare bedroom in your house, that's a lot of people that have hundreds of units now started just that way. But just get started. And again, it's almost like being in a dark room and having like a set of stairs, and you got to find your way up to the top of the stairs, but you can only see one step at a time. And that's okay, because you don't have to know everything. You know what I'm saying? You just need to know enough. You need to specialize knowledge and then you need the execution to take action and just go. You know what I mean? Invest in yourself and go. So that's pretty much what I would say. And I think I think everybody should have some type of mindset shift coming out of 2020. Like seriously, everybody should have some type of mindset shift, especially if you're one that, that work a full-time job. Even if you love it, that's great. Trust me, I'm never, ever wanted down a full-time job. My full-time job as an engineer helped me get to where I am right now. And so, but at the end of the day, we should have learned a lot from 2020, and let's make sure we're implementing and not just sitting on it in 2021 and moving forward. And let's take action to change our income trajectory, our financial blueprint, just in terms of the way we even think of business. And let's just execute on those and moving forward, especially 2021. Still a lot of time left this year to take action and make this one of the most best years you can have, and build on that.
That's right, man. And the key words there is to take action. I'll give you guys a little bit of a story before we hop off. Back when I first started in the real estate space, I was working on Wall Street. After 9/11, I had to go back to the barbershop. So I was cutting hair. And after cutting hair every night, my wife and I would jump. Well, she was my girlfriend at the time, but we would jump into a cab and drive cabs until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
To get up. And, we had to hustle. We lived in New York City, right? But here's the thing. I didn't own a car. So this was before arbitrage was even a thing, before Toro was a thing, before hire car, before, Airbnb. We just did. We didn't think. We needed the money. So we did what we needed to do in order to be able to accomplish what we wanted, right? So what did I do? I went down to the nearest cab service and I told one of the cab drivers, I will rent your car for $100 every night, and I'll pay you every single night and fill the car back up with gas. That was an arbitrage play, and I didn't even know it.
Wow.
19 years old, man.
That was an arbitrage play.
I didn't even know it. That was 20 years ago. I could tell you the story, man. My wife could tell you the story, right? But the whole point is we didn't think about it. We thought about what we needed at the time. Went from the barbershop, rented somebody's car at the cab service, drove to 3 a.m, made $250, paid him $100 of it, put some gas back in the car. I basically made about 50% of the profit after all of the expenses. Did it every night and didn't even know it was an arbitrage play. So, when you're a hustler, you're a hustler. That's the whole point, right? But the whole point is to just do it. Don't think about it.
Yeah,
Because if you think too much, you'll think yourself right out of the game.
absolutely.
All right, man.
What a story, man. I love that, bro.
Man,
That is dope.
this has been a real pleasure having you, bro. I
No
definitely
problem.
want to have you again. Let me know in the comment section if you want TJ to come back and drop some more gems. I would love to have you back, man, and looking forward to it. Make sure you check out the link in the description box as well if you want a step-by-step process on how you can become a rentalpreneur, and definitely check out TJ on IG as well. TJ, man, real pleasure. Looking forward to having you again, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Appreciate
Peace.
you, my brother. Thank you. Peace, y'all.